Heretic levels of soy detected. All right, so we have a chat here. Siege mode, prepare for wave 5. Pretty good, wave 5. Two things. Assault is totally, oh gosh. All right, well, yeah, they did it. They are insulting the assault class in the chat here. And then the assault player laughed at them, so that's good. Good attitude right there. Now, here's the thing. The assault class recently has been buffed and is a lot stronger now. This is silly. This is silly. Don't get toxic with people in the chat because of the class they're playing, especially not a class that was newly buffed that is going to shred. It is going to shred in siege mode. Yeah, the assault class has really good DPS right now. The slams are definitely worth it in siege mode, considering the amount of enemies. Make sure you have a fair amount of damage radius, I believe could definitely help you out with siege mode. Otherwise, you can still just use precision strikes and obviously get very big slams. But yes, we have talked about the assault class feeling like it was kind of behind of other classes before patch 9, and in which case we've actually seen a fair amount of assault players talk about them getting kicked, talked about people like not wanting to play the game. I've also been in this situation where I joined a siege mode operation, and what ended up happening was the player said, "Ew, the assault class," and left the game. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. However, this is a post made 9 hours ago, so apparently there are still some people here who did not get the memo. Now, if you don't know what they are saying here in the chat, I can't really repeat it because they are, debatably, they pretty much are. I'm not going to talk about semantics in this situation, but they are definitely throwing some harsh insults, to say the least, I would imagine. But yes, the assault class is better now, so this is definitely heretic levels of soy. Also, by the way, I guess getting toxic with teammates should be considered heresy. That would be kind of an interesting way to adjust the problem here, is if you have an assault player on your team who is properly leveled for hard siege mode, especially. I don't think this is hard siege mode. This looks like normal siege mode. Anyway, if you have an assault player who's on the team and you notice a teammate getting toxic with them, call them a heretic. Call them a heretic, because as long as there's nothing wrong with the player, you know, as long as they're not trolling or anything, I don't see any reason why the assault class should be singled out in this manner. This is unfortunate. It does seem like there's only 2 players here though, which is odd. No, there's another one. Yeah, no, we have 3 players here. The other player said, "Ooh, okay." That's a disappointing response. I do like the way the original poster responded. It's just laughed at him. That's all you can really do. And yeah, if you notice people dropping very harsh language in the chat because somebody's playing a certain class, call them a heretic. They are basically traitor scum. And then not to mention, there's no good reason to get toxic over the assault class right now. The damage this class is putting out is very good. I really like the ways, I honestly, for a side note here, I do like the way the devs are approaching assault buffs. They obviously have a vision in their mind where if the assault class for whatever reason starts to regenerate health, I think they have a vision in their mind where the assault class would genuinely be unstoppable, essentially. So the way they built the assault right now, where you have the contested health perk, which is really good, and not to mention you have the DPS to just practically take out whatever you want. They really put players into a position to play super aggressive, and as long as you hit those DPS checks with the assault class, it's going to be really hard to take you down. I really like what they did with the assault. They made the assault a little bit stronger instead of, obviously adding some maybe much needed sustainability. At the very least, some ammo regeneration would still be helpful for the class. I still think overall they did a great job buffing the class. However, there's still a perk on the assault class right now that is bugged, so I do hope they end up fixing that. Yeah, I still don't see any reason why you need to start insulting teammates because they're playing a certain class. So just wanted to make sure we put it out there. It's weird. It seems like there's a new wave of toxicity in this game. I keep seeing examples of it. We will cover specific examples when I have something to say about it. And for the most part, what I have to say is, don't get toxic with your assault teammates right now, guys. The assault players, also, you shouldn't anyway, but but right now, the assault class is doing magnificent DPS. It's a very fun class. And not to mention in siege mode, at the very least, I think the Assault class is one of the best classes for Siege mode if you just want to take things off of the screen. Big slams, a lot of damage. I like to see it. Now, let's go into the comments to see if anyone has anything to add in. That is, you know, maybe there are Assault players in the comments who have witnessed people still being toxic about that, which is insane. But yes, reiterating, there is no reason to get toxic to Assault players, and especially not now, considering they were buffed. Yes, and if you notice somebody getting toxic with one of your teammates for playing a certain class, call them a heretic. This stuff is so lame. Had a guy disconnect immediately after joining because he didn't like the classes. He must have tried to look for another lobby because he probably joined and left 10 times before a whole different person replaced them. Optimizing every little thing, especially classes, just takes a whole lot of fun out of the game. Let people play the game. But yeah, people are playing the game. I'm having a lot of fun with the game right now, to be honest. Patch 9 was a great patch. But yeah, I mean, the only times when I join games and leave games is mostly due to the fact that they are probably without a team perk in Absolute. Legitimately, when it comes to Absolute, I mean, it depends, but you really need, like, for example, a lot of these times when I see a player without a team perk in Absolute, I just assume they're duoing with somebody. You really need a good duo partner, because there's so many times where I jump into Absolute and it's like, okay, they're level 25, fully leveled, really good team perk, and then we have somebody who's like level 14, prestige 2, prestige 1 maybe. That's not too bad, but they don't have a team perk, and I'm just like, oh, sheesh, man. Like that is wild, because obviously we go into that fight and then of course the person without a team perk is dying, and it's just like, oh gosh. Whatever. Some of these things you just need to work out. Honestly, it's more fun to see what you can actually deal with. Sometimes there are moments where it's like, okay, both of my teammates don't have team perks for whatever reason. This has happened, and I will jump into the operation and see how far we can get and stuff like that. So it really depends. It really depends. Most of the time, though, in that case, it's kind of lower difficulty. Like, I would be just like, I have other classes I am leveling up on console and everything. So most of the time, it's just, you know, lower difficulty, 2 teammates without team perks, and at the very least, I'll have a relic weapon, so that's fine. But yeah, this is not the way to act, I think. Honestly, though, when it comes to just leaving the game, I will admit, if you leave the game, you should really restart, because you should restart the game, or at least change the mode or something, because you will immediately join the game you just left for at least 5 minutes. For at least 5 minutes. But yeah, obviously, there's good reasons to leave the game, and then there are bad reasons to leave the game. I think class selection is a bad reason at the moment. Every class seems like they are really fun, really good, have multiple builds. I'm very impressed with the balance of the game right now. This game has been breeding toxicity lately. Gamers already contain a subsection of horrible people who are edgy and crappy, but lately there's been a sense of elitism and shunning anyone who... Okay, hold on. Yeah, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's move on. Gamers being a subsection of horrible people is just wild. I wish we could do more about that stereotype. Maybe in time, we can just be a beacon of hope of gamers who are just interested in strategy and having fun and seeing what sort of game mechanics you can basically just mess with. Trial and error, find new things, experiment, all that sort of thing. But yeah, the gamers who need, like, to find a way to put their ego on a pedestal or whatever, that can breed toxicity, 100%. That's how I look at it for the most part. That's why you see so much of that in Dark Souls games, because it's like everyone's trying to put their gameplay above each other, just in this sense to, like, make themselves feel better about, like, things that aren't very important, essentially. Like, who really cares if you beat Dark Souls with summons or not? You know what I mean? The only people who really care about that are going to be challenge runners. And if you're not a challenge runner, you really don't have anything to gain from making fun of somebody for using a particular weapon or whatever. I always found that really silly, to be honest. But yeah, okay, let's continue. So, gamers right now are they gamers. So apparently there's a subsection of people playing the game right now lately who has a sense of elitism and shunning anyone who didn't know something. I mean, dude, if somebody didn't know something on your team, there's no reason to get toxic over it. I kind of hate this both ways, in the sense where it's like people getting cocky or condescending with, like, teaching you something. But then also people who get like defensive because they don't know anything, it's kind of annoying. But I understand. There are definitely people who are condescending with that. So ultimately though, if you're teaching somebody something, make sure you are teaching them something to improve them or improve their gameplay, or at least improve the team. Don't teach them something that is not 100% necessary. As in like basically your preferences. Teach them about the armor icon next to your teammates, next to your teammate's name. Don't teach them about, hey, you should be using this weapon instead of that weapon because of this. You know what I mean? They're using the weapon they want to use, okay? But if you teach them about the armor icon, that's a good bit of knowledge. Summon Dreadnot at the wrong time. No, hold on. First of all, we have to talk about the Dreadnot. We have to talk about the Dreadnot because I feel like people still don't understand if it's good or not, and it is good, and it is cheaper now. So use it at the right time. When you use it at the wrong time, yes, it can potentially kill your run. And yes, this is actually something worthy of discussion. This is not something you get toxic over. However, this is obviously something that needs to be discussed, or at the very least, people need to have a good idea what the Dreadnot actually does in Siege mode, which is wins you the wave you didn't think you could win. Basically, the Dreadnot's still really good, guys. I beat hard Siege mode with, I think, not the Assault class, something recent, maybe it was the Assault class, I forget. But yeah, I was doing hard Siege, no, it was with Bulwark. And one of our teammates summoned the Dreadnot, and this is, again, hard Siege mode, and the Dreadnot legitimately just took out the Hell Brutes in like a second. Even in hard Siege mode, it's crazy. So summoning the Dreadnot at the right time, definitely worthy of discussion. If somebody ends up doing it too early, and you feel the need to like flip out over comms or whatever, don't, because the game's probably going to end soon anyway, because they summoned the Dreadnot at the wrong time. Paid for guardsmen. That's silly. Okay, that's crazy. Dude, the guardsmen are actually worth it right now, aren't they? At the very least, they made the, like, fully leveling them up a little bit cheaper. I always like guardsmen. At the very least, levels 1 or 2 are very cheap, and they just distract other enemies. So I don't see a problem with getting these if you have the points for it. Is using the wrong team perk only the one that benefits me is allowed? The perk police are headed to your location. Yeah, this is a part of the conversation when it comes to team perks that I kind of start to question a little bit. Just in the sense that it's like, okay. I understand people getting mad about no team perks, but it does seem like some of this is starting to filter into people getting mad about non-meta team perks, and I hope that's not the case. So yeah, if anyone's getting toxic about your team perk, if you're level 25 Prestige 4, or you're level 20 Prestige 2, you're level 17 Prestige 3, you get my point. If you have the credentials to know what you're doing, which in most cases is just Prestige. If you have Prestige 3 level 2, no, hold on, you need a team perk. If you're Prestige 3 level 10 with a team perk, I'm with you. I think you know what you're doing, okay? But if you're like level 10, if you're like level 20, no prestige, and you have a bad team perk, I mean, I'll still run the game, but if we died, you got to look at your build a little bit, or just learn a little bit more, something like that. There's nothing, I'm not going to get on chat and be like, switch your team perk or I'm leaving. I would either just leave or, at least understand what I'm getting into. Asked a question about Space Marine 2 on the subreddit dedicated to Space Marine 2. They should have figured it out on their own. I'm skipping that one. That's ridiculous. Is using the wrong gun? Yeah, we kind of talked about that one. Is using the wrong melee weapon? Is it low level when I joined their game? Dude, hold on. I'm confused. It says, is it low level when I joined their game? Is this commentary the one getting toxic about lower level? Because that's kind of how this words out here a little bit. Is it low level when I joined their game? But I don't get it. Wait, so I guess they're just thinking low levels are people who are edgy and have sense of elitism? This doesn't track. Some of these other ones are pretty bad. Some of these are pretty good. Some of these are pretty bad. Someone made a post earlier saying they wish they could make progress and level up playing on their own in operations after just completing the campaign. They didn't know you could change the lobby to private. A bunch of people chimed in calling them stupid for making the post, and a lot of people commented just saying you can change it to private, but only one person commented and actually described how to change the lobby to private. Yeah, that's the internet. That's not a Space Marine 2 problem. That's the internet. God forbid somebody didn't know something about the game. I don't understand why the sub has to be so dang unwelcoming to newer players or beginners. Oh, that's a conversation to have. That's an interesting one. I guess Sheesh, I didn't really think about this. Dude, we try our best. I mean, we honestly try our best. I put out so much information I can, but obviously I do get commenters mentioning, hey, do you really think new players are going to come across this information? And sometimes, sometimes, most of them, probably not, but at the very least, we have enough people in the community who know what they're talking about, so even if they do get queued up with a new player, potentially they can teach them something. I will say, the best new information, well, the best thing I've learned about this game was the armor icons next to your teammate's name. If the icon next to your teammate's name has a gold border around it, that means they have armor. If it doesn't, that means they don't have armor. In which case, if they don't have armor, hopefully they can find an execution or some sort of armor replenishment. So if you have a teammate without armor, maybe play around them a little bit and help them out, and don't steal any executions within their vicinity. But okay, let's continue. We were all there once. I missed the message that said that your progress wouldn't be saved playing Operations offline. I was clicking A rapidly through everything, and I played all week using the quick resume feature on Xbox, never closing the game or quitting the title screen. This is insane. This guy played offline. Since it didn't save, I believe it does save. I don't know about that, to be honest. I know that was a huge issue with save files, though. But anyway, this guy really is playing Operations offline and not closing the game because of it. That is insane. That is insane. I'm not getting toxic. I'm just saying that is not something I would do. However, if they want to do it, they can do it. I lost about 20 hours. Dude, no, you didn't. You didn't lose about 20 hours of progress. You set yourself up to lose 20 hours of progress. No, for real though. If offline Operations really doesn't save progress, that has to change, to be completely honest. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure I played offline Operations before and I was able to level up a little bit. I don't really know what they mean here, honestly, about like your progress won't be saved playing Operations offline. Is that still the thing? I didn't know I played the entire campaign offline by myself using quick resume, and it wasn't an issue. I don't know. I don't understand why you brought that up, but that was a horror story if I've ever seen one. Holy cow. All right. So it does feel like we have a fair amount of people kind of talking about, I guess, players getting a little edgier. A little edgier. That hopefully isn't the case for you guys. But yeah, it is unfortunate seeing Assault players specifically kind of singled out. It has happened to me before, but it hasn't happened to me since patch 9, I will say. So it is pretty interesting. But overall, I hope this is not something that is infesting your games. I hope players are being, helpful and cooperative. I haven't seen anyone get toxic in this game since the last time I played the Assault class and somebody just left the game and said, ew, the Assault class, which was before patch 9, which was around launch of Siege mode, and that's been the last time, so it's pretty interesting. Now, somebody underneath here says Warhammer and PvE games breed elitism like no other. I just don't like when it comes to elitism. It doesn't really bother me if it's like just co-op and we're on the same team. Okay, you're the best player on our team. That's fine. It's still a cooperative game mode. You're not going to get anything from this if we lose. I'm not going to get anything from this if we lose. So ultimately we still have the same goal. However, there are definitely some games, when it comes to elitism for gaming, that bothers me. It's more about, like, on the monetary side, you know what I mean? Like, it's more about monetization, like, small windows to get certain cosmetics and everything like that. I feel like the only sense of true elitism in this game are players who have the heavy champion skin. We are absolutely the elite of this game. No, I'm absolutely kidding, guys. I do not feel that strongly about that skin. I will also reiterate that. I will go back to that point and say we should add the heavy skin to Season Pass 2. we really should. Okay, but anyway, hopefully you guys are not running into any toxic players for playing a class, but it does seem like we have a fair amount of commenters in this thread specifically who notice players still getting a little bit, I would say less than cooperative when you are playing the Assault class or doing something they don't want to do. If this is the case, just get to where you need to go. Again, we're all on the same page. We all need the victory. So after you get the victory, move on. Or if you want to move on immediately, you can just leave the game and find a new game. Or just don't even care about text chat. And 9 times out of 10, when someone's getting toxic in text chat, normally it's silly and really, really dumb. So pretty easy to move on from, for the most part. And honestly, anyone in this game who still is upset at the assault players, you need to read the patch notes or play the class so you can understand it a little bit more. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys been adjusting to patch 9 with the assault class. Hopefully you have not been seeing any toxic players playing the assault class. And yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. And thanks for watching.